Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am Kyle. We were supposed to have a full group here today, but unforeseen circumstances have completely thrown everything out of the loop. But look, we got big news coming out recently. We haven't done anything in about 2 weeks, so I thought we'd check up on you guys. We're in the middle of the offseason. There's a bunch of info going around right now. It might be the lull time of the NFL league, but there's so much news popping out that we have to discuss with you guys. We had to go live and see how you guys were doing. So first off, welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I'm Kyle. Hail to the Redskins. Jordan Reed is gone, on top of Josh Norman and Vernon Davis. Thank you for Josh Norman being gone. He great guy off the field, I'm sure. I was just done with seeing him in a burgundy and gold. Just finished with him being a Redskin. He took a lot of money, and not that much was brought back into it. Look, and at the time I said, of his signing, I said, look, I don't care how much he produces. I just want some consistency at the cornerback position, especially in the number one position, because at the time, the Redskins were trying to get over like the D. Hall hump. And, we needed a replacer for D. Hall. He was on his last leg. He was getting torched on a weekly basis. So we went out and we got Josh Norman and said, look, it's expensive. Is he unproven? I guess in a way, because he's coming from a defense. Was it the defense or was it him? It's a chicken or the egg argument. And we come to find out he performed well, but the unfortunate part for Josh Norman is this past year when he was injured and he was out, Fabian Moreau came in his spot and excelled greatly. Did really well, was able to come up with a bunch of turnovers, something that plagued Josh Norman when he was in a Redskins uniform. And seeing that was huge. That was big for Redskins fans to see that the Redskins organization was able to draft well late in rounds, early in rounds, and hit on some of these drafts, because the third round has really plagued the Redskins for a long time. And I'm glad that Fabian Moreau was able to come around finally and prove himself. I'm glad the Norman thing is gone. I'm glad Jordan Reed is having a chance. There's rumors always about Jordan Reed, but I'm glad that he is finally off concussion protocol and he's ready to play again. And I hope that he takes the time necessary, because he certainly has had the time to really think hard about his decision. But in his best interest, he's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do. More power to him, Jordan. You were great here. Had a lot of fun memories with you. You balled your ass off. I'll never forget that Dallas Cowboys game on Thanksgiving 2 years ago with that torn rotator cuff, I believe, or collarbone, and you were just balling out there, catching touchdown passes, landing on your shoulder like it was no big deal. A lot of credit to you, Jordan Reed. I wish you nothing but the best. Vernon Davis, the freak of nature that is almost the tight end version of Adrian Peterson, who I'm going to get to next. But Vernon Davis, thank you for your time here in Washington, showing that old dudes still can't outrun these young bucks. Vernon Davis is obviously an athletic freak, and I'm glad that he was able to come home and perform well for the Redskins, because that's always something we want to see. We want to see like Diggs and those kind of the homegrown guys. We want to see them coming back here in Redskins uniform and see them do well for us. And that brings you up to AP. He's returning to the Redskins. Slam dunk decision in my eyes. There's no other way that you can look at it. Especially with the consistency at the running back position. Bryce Love, who the Redskins drafted last year, 2 years ago, is somebody that is getting over an injury, a big one, an ACL tear. So you have to imagine that the likelihood of that happening again it's up there. The probabilities are high. And then Darius Geis, who seemingly was one of the most elusive running backs in the league last year when he had the football in his hands. Because he was injured. And that has been something for 2 years, but I believe in Geis. I think Geis has the attitude. I think Geis has the work ethic to be able to get it done, to be able to get healthy, to work, to get to where he needs to be in a physical aspect to be able to play well on the football field and to stay on the football field. London Fletcher, one of the guys I remember hearing stories about where he would go into the ice tank before and after practice, before and after games, and he would really put his body through a lot of strenuous work so he could continue playing every single week. And the Iron Man London Fletcher. And so Adrian Peterson coming back is just another thing of a massive freak of nature returning to the Redskins on his last limb, and he's proving it's a pretty good one too. Outrunning the Philadelphia Eagles 2 years ago. Last year coming in, saving us again on the back of AP. You have to imagine, in the beginning part of the last season, like midway, it was all AP. That's all the Redskins really had, AP and Terry. Like, that was it. No Jordan Reed, no Trent Williams. The team was starving. And didn't a lot of things happened that I didn't expect. I definitely thought that Trent Williams was going to return last year. I hope that Ron Rivera turns his ship around. Please, Trent, please return. I believe in this team now. And it's weird to say, but guys like AP, guys like Ryan Kerrigan, those are the type of guys you bring around from a previous organization. Those are the type of guys you transition. Ryan Kerrigan, he's done nothing but the right thing his entire career. Shown up, gone to work, and played. He's been, you have to imagine, he's been one of the, he hasn't been injured until this past year. He hadn't missed time. Ryan Kerrigan is a hell of a human being, and I'm glad that the Redskins are going to, it's being talked about. John Keim said this to me. I'm not sure if it's 100%. JP Finley, I've heard on Twitter say this, that it's a foregone conclusion that Kerrigan is getting an extension with the Redskins. They haven't really disclosed anything else but that. So that's all we have. And speaking of ongoing situations and contract extensions, Trent Williams, the Ron Rivera talked about he doesn't have anything else to elaborate on at the combine. He doesn't with Trent. They haven't talked in a while. They have nothing to add. Shit, it's not good. But I don't know where Trent's head is at. The thing is, in all of this, the one person that can clear up the entire situation is Trent. And look, if Trent doesn't want to disclose personal information, that's fine. I get it. But it's just, I guess transparency from a fan point of view is all that we're looking for. You know, what do you want, Trent? Like if you want out, bro, just tell us and we'll advocate for the Redskins to push you out. You know, obviously the Redskins did enough to get Bruce out of here. You know, the Redskins fan base will work to do whatever they need to do because obviously the Redskins are listening to get what you need. Because Trent Williams, you put a lot on the line for the Skins. And we will rally behind you if you need us. If you punch Richard Sherman in the face. Well, not really. You smacked him. Open hand smacked Richard Sherman in the face for all that after the whistle bullshit that he was pulling in that playoff game against Pierre Garcon. Which pissed me off. And seeing that was like, dude, no, he's a Redskins for life, brother. No one else I can see rocking burgundy and gold than Trent Williams. I hope he comes back. Ron Rivera, and I've said this before in previous episodes, he didn't have the kind of offensive line that you need for a quarterback in an offense to sustain success. He has that ability here in Washington, but it's a very tricky situation. You have to get Trent Williams back. You have to be able to get Brandon Sheriff under $13 million per year, I would imagine, is what is happening right now because the Browns decided to screw everything up and overpay Zeitler a couple years ago. Now guards are flying through the roof, and the Redskins do have I believe they have the ability to pick up the option for Eric Flowers. He might have declined it, I'm not sure, but I know that the Redskins are actively trying to bring Eric Flowers back. You bring those three guys back and add it in with Morgan Moses, the solidified right tackle, who does need to get better. He was playing injured last year, but he does need to get better. A lot of holding calls last year on the right side there. Him and Chase Royer. I think that's a very sustainable offensive line. They've proved that they can run the football. They've proved that they've been one of the best passing attacks in the NFL if they can just stay healthy there on the offensive line. We're able to do that. And that's what Dwayne Haskins needs to be able to progress as a passer, to be able to progress as a captain and as a game manager, a field general. He's going to need some sustainability. And that's what Ron Rivera needs to bring on the offensive line. Everything happens in the trenches, and we have that built on the other side. Defensive line in the trenches, I think we're pretty good in that aspect. It's the offensive line that needs the most work. And I know that Ron Rivera is working very hard and diligently in making sure and repairing whatever he can to get that done. Because obviously he is monumental, Trent Williams, to our success. Now, bringing me to Ron Rivera. I love everything that he's done so far. The attitude that he's bringing, and it just, the fact that Kyle Smith is actually talking at the combine at a normal time slot is something that didn't happen ever in the previous regime, but it's happening now, which is a good sign. The things are happening normally. We're acting like a everyday organization, not like an anomaly out in Ashburn, Virginia, that just in a hole in the ground. It's good to see, and I like the face that the Redskins are putting on right now. They have to build a new name for themselves, and they're doing a really good job at that. They recently hired I forget her name. I'm sorry, but the new coach that the Redskins brought on, female coach that they brought on, the wide receivers coach, I believe. They brought her on, and then also the new social media director they just brought on as well. Bringing new young people, and they're going out and they're actually following people on Twitter, actual fans on Twitter, the Redskins social media account, which is nothing but awesome because all fans want is interaction. And you will get nothing but positive and great things if you're trying to interact with them. And if you're being honest, that's the whole part, is being honest. Stop telling me we're winning off the field. I don't want to hear that anymore. It's time to do it on the field. I don't really have much more to add, you guys, because I had a lot more to talk about with Mike and Mike here. Dude, screw you, Johnny. Look at the Cowboys fans. You guys gonna let this Cowboys fan on here? Who the hell is Johnny? God damn it. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. One thing I did want to talk about a little bit here is the Chase Young or the draft pick haul that's being talked about and discussed. It's one of the most interesting aspects of this so far this offseason, not only for the Redskins but the NFL, because the Redskins are in a very pivotal spot there at the number 2. You have Joe Burrow obviously going number 1, which is the consensus number 1 pick. Tua Tagovailoa is now healthy, so that could throw a wrench into things at the number 2 spot. There's teams that really like Tua. I'm not really on the Tua board, to be perfectly honest with you. But at that number 2 spot, what is more valuable to a franchise? Is it the draft pick overhaul that the possible Miami Dolphins would be giving up with multiple first-round picks, maybe a second-round pick that the Redskins are missing? Or do the Redskins sit there and take Chase Young at number 2? Is it the generational talent at pass rusher, the Lawrence Taylor, the Julius Peppers, or is it the RG3 type of trade haul of multiple first-round picks is what gets a franchise to where they need to be? And that is the most interesting part about this scenario for the Redskins, for me personally. Because as much as you love what Chase Young brings to you on tape, as much as you love the size, the athletic ability, the speed, the violent nature of the way that he is a pass rusher, it really is enticing because offensive lines are going to have to double team him. They're going to have to chip him off the line every single time. And anybody that knows football will tell you that taking seconds off of any route, of any offensive play is huge. That is huge for a defense, and that just allows the pass rushers just a little bit more time to get after the quarterback. And added that with Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Matt Ioannidis, and Ryan Kerrigan, Montez Sweat. That is a very sick combo. It's a very neat and deadly combo, if I must say. And having that factor there, having Chase Young be a part of that, would automatically fix your cornerback issue. Because you think about with Josh Norman, why did Josh Norman do really well down in Carolina? That's because he had a very good defensive line. He had pass rushers. He had a good middle linebacking core. He had a good support system around him, a good defense. If you have that good defensive line, you have those pass rushers that can get after the quarterback fast, violently. The ball has to come out quick. Your cornerbacks don't have to play so far off the ball. They can play bump and run. They can force offenses to really have to go short. And we've seen with the Bears defense how sickening that is to an offense. It strangles them. They don't know what to do, and the only thing they can do is run the football. I like the Chase Young aspect, and I think that's where the Redskins are going to go. I really enjoy that point of view. I like that look of the Redskins. It reminds me of the Eagles in their Super Bowl run, with how many guys that they had at the pass rusher and defensive line spot where it was interchangeable. They were like a revolver. It didn't matter. They just put another bullet in the chamber. And that's how I kind of see this defensive line and this pass rushing core adding with Chase Young. Now, that being said, if the Dolphins were able to offer something, multiple first-round picks, multiple second-round, third-round, or early rounders, that's incredibly enticing. And does that fix what the Redskins need? Because the Redskins need a lot. Let's not forget this. There's Reuben Foster, as much as we love him as a household name, he's still very unproven. And when he was leaving San Francisco, he was leaving on bad terms because he wasn't playing well. He was also injured in that last season, which was the hypothetical. Which one is it? But it's still unproven. So you don't know if Reuben Foster is going to work out and play well. Now, Cole Holcomb, played really well last year in relief of Reuben Foster. Proved a lot of people wrong, but that was a previous regime. Will Jack Del Rio appreciate Cole Holcomb and what he does? Will Cole Holcomb earn that spot over Sean Dion Hamilton, Josh Harvey Clemens? Will he be able to do that? And that's a huge question mark. I really do think so. So the Redskins have multiple places they can go. And cornerback, obviously, is number one. One free agent guy I would love the Redskins to be able to go out and target is Bradbury, the cornerback formerly of the Carolina Panthers, who a lot of people are saying is not going to get franchise tagged. The Carolina Panthers said, we're done with that. We're just going to cut ties, which would absolutely be awesome for the Redskins. Replacing number 24 in Carolina again with the 24 here in Washington. And I would absolutely love that if that were to happen. Bradbury coming to a defensive scheme that he already knows. He's familiar with, and he would gel right in right away. Adding that with Landon Collins over top. And then Trey Boston is also a free agent out there that has been linked to the Broncos. He's commanding a big salary, and I'm not really sure the Redskins are interested in using that kind of money, even though they have the sixth most in the NFL. After all these cuts, $63 million they have in cap space. But first, they have to extend our guys. You got to get our guys inked up. That's number one. Got to get Sheriff done. Got to make sure what's going on with Trent. I'm not sure what the Redskins are thinking with the second round this year in the draft. They don't have one, but they have guys like Quentin Dunbar sitting there who could play on the last year of his deal, or they could trade this offseason. They could franchise tag Quentin Dunbar, but that's a heavy price for him if he's really worth that number one money, because that's one of the sticky situations with Quentin Dunbar. Because, yes, he performed well. He outperformed Josh Norman. When Josh Norman was getting huge amounts of money. But Quentin Dunbar is making only like $1 million per season. I can understand why he wants a new contract and why he'd want more money. But at the same time, I completely understand the Redskins. Quentin Dunbar's only played 40% of the games that he's played under this new contract in 2 seasons. If you're the Redskins, why would you even take that on? Why would you extend that contract with him right now before the end of his deal? Make him play that out. Make him earn it. And that's the horrible thing about the NFL, and that fact that it is a business. But the most that you could get in return is by shipping Quentin Dunbar, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to garner a second rounder like a lot of people think. I think it's more going to be a fourth or a fifth, just to add some more bullets in the chamber for Ron Rivera to add some of his guys in there. And that's why I think the route that they're going to go. Now, Trent Williams is the one wild card in this situation because we don't know what's going on. It's the one oblivious smoke that's happening. Nobody understands what Trent wants, especially in everyday fans. That answer would be great to hear, so we would be able to start transitioning in the NFL and getting towards the draft and starting to see what the Redskins can do. Because, to be perfectly honest with you, if Trent doesn't return to the Redskins, I think, and if Brandon Sheriff does not return to the Redskins, I think the organization should think long and hard about possibly trading back that number 2 overall pick. And I know, as crazy as it is to sound, they have to use some sort of leverage and mortgage a trade out of there, because without Sheriff and Trent Williams, I know Donald Penn played well in relief of Trent last year. I'm not going to say he's not, but you have to gear for the future. And the guys in relief right now they're not convincing, to be perfectly honest with you. Morgan Moses at times is lazy, gets beat a lot, gets caught grabbing too much, lunging, I guess, if you will. And if you can't have that sustainability there on the offensive line, you have to be able to rebuild this draft. And without a second-round pick there, I don't know how the Redskins are going to be able to sustain offensive production this year without rebuilding offensive line, without using, out of their 6 draft picks, using 3 for offensive line. Because you're automatically saying, when Brandon Sheriff walks out of that door, you're automatically saying Wes Martin starting. Who's behind Wes Martin? That's the point the Redskins have been in for year after year after year. They've constantly undermined the depth at the offensive line, especially in the interior at guard and at center. That is so pivotal for the Redskins. You need swing guys. The Patriots are so good at what they do because all their offensive linemen can play multiple positions. They can move them anywhere in case of injury. That's what the Redskins have missed and lacked. Then we have to start building some depth at the offensive line position. And I think re-signing Sheriff and Trent is key to that. There you have you have a concrete foundation. You have something to build on. You can go throughout your draft. You can go to Chase Young in the second overall, and you're looking pretty good. With the emergence of Terry McLaurin and Steven Sims and Kelvin Harmon, the Redskins' offensive scheme is not looking too bad, especially with the fact that they were able to get those guys back and healthy with Eric Flowers. That's going to be a pretty good combo. I think they're going to be able to run the ball with ease, especially get the ball down the field. Now, the only problem is tight end. And that's why I think, especially in particular, I think it's so important for the offensive line to come back. They're gonna have to pay a tight end in the offseason. Hopefully it's not too much. I know I saw figures of Austin Hooper saying that he wanted like $11 million or something like that, which is ridiculous for Austin Hooper. But look, that's what the Redskins have to pay for a free agent tight end, especially a good one. Jordan Reed leaving is terrible, but at the same time, it's on top of Vernon Davis leaving. I like Jeremy Sprinkle a lot. I'm not ready to say he's a bust or anything like that. I think he's a pretty good backup tight end, and I think he's a legitimate backup tight end, a good one at that. I just don't think he's a good starter right now, and he could maybe prove me wrong come this offseason, but that's just where I stand. That's not where I believe that Jeremy Sprinkle is. And so Austin Hooper, I really like that route, but my biggest issue with all this tight end free agency class is every single one of them is injury prone. We lost Jordan Reed, and what was our biggest gripe with Jordan Reed? It wasn't about his play on the field, it's because he couldn't stay healthy. And so now we're going to have to overpay for a guy just not to be questionably healthy. Austin Hooper was injured last year, missed multiple weeks. Same with Hunter Henry. He missed multiple weeks. Eric Ebron had a down year last year. It's going to be a really sticky situation for the Redskins. I really thought that Greg Olsen could have been the good answer and the right answer for them, because that way they would have been able to fill that spot with somebody that could run block, somebody that was able to stay healthy. Because Greg Olsen, I hate to tell you guys, but it wasn't until about 2 seasons ago Greg Olsen started getting injured. He's a lot like Ryan Kerrigan. He was like the Iron Man. He stayed, and I really thought that he was going to be the key piece of that tight end spot so the Redskins wouldn't be put in this position. But now they're stuck. After Olsen has agreed to go to the Seahawks, the Redskins are stuck at the tight end spot. This class for the tight ends coming out of the 2020 draft class is not very good. The free agency class, like I said, is injury riddled. You don't know that it's insecurity everywhere throughout the tight end position. And that's what's the most, I guess, disheartening thing going into the Redskins offseason right now. And my thought process was, why wouldn't the Redskins at least go out and try to trade for one of the Ravens' backup tight ends, Hayden Hurst, somebody like that, and using Quentin Dunbar, using somebody as leverage, as some sort of a tool to be able to get a tight end off of a tight end stacked team. I think it would be very important. I think the Ravens would be interested, and especially after going to see where they are. And I think Quentin Dunbar would be very good on that Ravens defense, actually, to be frankly honest with you. And I think that's a route that the Redskins could go down. And I think that they should. The only issue is, what do they have in the chamber? What do they have to give up? And you don't want to give up any more draft picks. You already don't have the second rounder. So you're kind of put in this spot, in this sticky situation. And it sucks at the tight end spot. But I wish nothing but Jordan Reed the best. And that's all that matters, right? Now, I want to talk about something. The Bucs are changing their uniform this year. I think they recently did it, like not too long ago. But I had made a comment on Twitter, and I said, I've always said I really like the FSU uniforms, their black uniforms, the specialty uniforms that they wore. I always thought the Redskins should do something like that. Their specialty unis that are black, and they have the kind of burgundy and the maroon kind of shoulder pad, obviously burgundy, but I really like that as a specialty uniform for the Redskins. And I think that that's something they should look into. All of the Redskins uniforms are very bright, very flamboyant. I mean, remember the pants that Bruce Allen loved? The god-awful mustard yellow pants that they always trot out there. But I hated those pants. God, it was so gross. But I want the white-on-white brought back, and then as a normal weekly uniform. I would love to bring the Sean Taylor unis back. Absolutely love it. Then they also the black specialty uni. I don't mean to have like all the time like the Chargers powder blue. I'm talking about like once a season. You know, just instead of doing the stupid color rush mustard yellow, how about we do black? That sounds a lot better to me. Stupid mustard yellow. Like who thought that was a good idea? Like, seriously. Like, who looked at the Redskins uniform of the mustard yellow color rush? It was like, you know what, guys? We're gonna trot out. This is a winner right here. This is a winner. I like that guy. Obviously, that guy is out of the building now. Hopefully he is, because that was disgusting to watch. I really would love that. Now, the one thing I wanted to talk about was the loss of Kevin O'Connell with Dwayne Haskins. A lot of people have been put off with Ron Rivera, especially with how he's handled Dwayne Haskins since he's been here. A lot of people I've seen on Twitter have been like very defensive of Dwayne Haskins, saying, I don't know why people are coming out and saying that Dwayne Haskins isn't putting the time in, isn't putting the work in. It's because he wasn't putting the time in. It's because he wasn't putting the work in throughout the offseason last year and throughout until he was able to be the starter. Then he started putting in the work. But the point was that was trying to get across to Dwayne is that that shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't only be putting in the work when you get the starting job. And I think that's what the biggest put off for Ron Rivera is right now. And I think Dwayne is going to be the Redskins starter next season. I don't think there's going to be any change about it unless something crazy happens like Dwayne Haskins, or Cam Newton following Ron Rivera here. Or possibly Phillip Rivers reuniting with Norv Turner's son, Scott Turner, who's the Redskins OC, and reuniting with Ron Rivera, who was a DC out in San Diego at the time when the Chargers were there. I do like the idea of those things, but I also do not enjoy the idea of thinking of blowing up on Haskins already. I feel like Haskins does have that minute chance of being a superstar. I think he has that slither of chance. And I think it's by him, I think Ron Rivera, by saying you don't reach your professional peak until you see 5,000 snaps in the NFL. And I agree with Ron there. I don't think that we should just throw away on Dwayne yet. I think that Dwayne needs to be pissed off. I think Dwayne needs to work really hard. I think Dwayne needs to show everyone that he is better than that graph that was showed. That was a statistical graph, by the way. Statistical. That was not something that somebody just drew up. Somebody put numbers into the computer, typed them up, hit enter, and that's what came up. Nobody else's fault but Dwayne's. And until that gets addressed, until he works hard, he's not going to see production. And only thing I've heard this offseason is that Dwayne is working his ass off, which is great to see. That's a huge thing, especially in this new regime. Working hard in the offseason. I saw that Dwayne Haskins was commenting on Stefan Diggs commented on Dwayne Haskins' post because Dwayne Haskins is playing pissed off. He's saying this year it's personal. And good thing, because I talked a lot of shit. I'm not going to lie to you. I did. I ran my mouth, dude. And I just hope that Dwayne proves me wrong. I really like Dwayne. I hope that he does do well for the Redskins because that's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that matters. Redskins do well. That's it. That's all that matters. All right, everyone. I don't really have much more to elaborate on, but we are going to have another show lined up for you this week. I just wanted to just a recap and just overall just check up on you guys. Dr. Kyle's here. I got to make sure that my Redskins people have their juice. They have their prescription. If you need another script, come to doctor. I got you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I'm Kyle of the Burgundy Zone. Mike and Mike will be here. Later on in the week, we're going to do a live episode. Don't worry about it, everyone. We're going to be here. Tune in every Monday. We're going to have another one this week just to bring the two on. But every Monday, book your schedules. That's when we'll be broadcasting. That's when we'll be going live. And don't forget, we're going to put this on iTunes. We're going to put this on iTunes Podcast. We'll put this on YouTube. We're going to put this on Twitter. It's going to be all over the place. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kyle. Thank you for tuning in to the Burgundy Zone. Woo!